So now they fired the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the quarterback's coach, and now he's going to go hire another guy. And that guy, whatever second-tier offensive mind is going to take this job, now gets to oversee the most important draft pick they've had in how long?
In ever, probably.
Right.
If you're
Frank Reich or whoever it is going
to. But you're acting like Frank Reich actually doesn't have a resume of success as an offensive coordinator.
It's still small potatoes. It's still
Dan. Who did you want? Let's drill down on it. Who did you want to be the offensive coordinator for the Bears?
Well, I wanted Jim Harbaugh to be the head coach.
Okay, so let's say that they had a conversation with Jim Harbaugh and he said, "I'm not coming." Then what?
Then blow everything out, and Mr. Kevin Warren, Mr. Football, Mr. I want to be commissioner, Mr. The world bends around my whims. Where's the power?
You're still not doing a good enough job of explaining. Like, I don't like that you're just saying that people are second tier when you have no idea.
Well, who's going to take the job? The guy from the Lions?
You just named.
He wants a head coach.
Right, that's what I mean. Bobby Slowick? No.
That's not who did you want?
I wanted
Harbaugh. What if he said no? Then what?
Then you have a different head coach.
Just because?
Yes, because this isn't going anywhere.
Okay.
Yes. Change. I wanted the bar to be. I wanted them to show me that this isn't good enough. That's what I wanted. I wanted the people newly in charge of the Bears to say, now is a time for bigger thinking. Now is a time for us. You're going to trust us, and we are going to win a Super Bowl.
Bigger thinking be inside of, man, we just wasted 2 years because the offensive coordinator of this team and his staff were bad. And now we can look at the entire offensive staff and change it.
Yeah, but apparently Eberflus is going to make the hire. That's what's being reported. So he's going to go pitch whatever his vision is, which we've really never heard other than play hard. His whole vision is play hard. Try hard, love football, play hard.
I think that's reductive.
That's his vision. What other vision have we heard from him?
I mean, I know that you're stuck on the acronyms,
but seriously, what vision have we heard from him articulated other than play hard?
If that's how you're just going to feel like that you didn't see any of his vision?
No.
Like defensively?
Fine. If he wants to be a coordinator, that's fine.
That's part of the team, Dan. Being a head coach is also your defense. It isn't just the offense.
Fine, but what vision have you heard from him?
And you saw the vision of, we want to get younger players, young athletic players.
That's Poles.
Okay.
I think Poles is doing a pretty good job. I like this tweet from Josh Schrock. He said the Bears are now either going to ask Matt Eberflus to win in 2024 with Justin Fields learning his third system in 4 seasons, or they're asking Matt Eberflus to oversee the start of Caleb Williams or Drake May's career and then potentially send them all packing next offseason if the wins don't come.
Man, this is
this is the choice that they made. Okay. This is why I was telling you that perhaps you shouldn't expect Kevin Warren to be some superhero because you don't know anything about him.
Well, then it's my fault for thinking.
It is your fault.
It's my fault for thinking that something was going to be different. For all the lofty rhetoric and all the myth making.
You helped make the myth.
I was excited that everything they said was going to be different. And it's not.
Well, I'm sorry that they disappointed you.
Yeah, it's incredibly disappointing to think, here's this chance. Here was your chance. It's like, yeah, we were good at we recovered from our own self-imposed difficulties enough that this is okay. Okay, great. Go Bears.
So I think what you're trying to say is, unless they fire the head coach as well, you're not going to get a suitable offensive candidate. Is that what you're trying to say?
I just think the whole thing doesn't work. I've been dealing with layering. I've been dealing with half measures. I just wanted more than another half measure. And I thought that this regime would finally usher in higher standards.
Why?
Because the whole point was to be different.
Why? Who told you that?
They did. They said that Kevin
They
Warren,
told you it was going to be different?
Well,
they didn't tell you they was going to be different?
Now, hold on. When Kevin Warren was hired, we all thought that his football acumen would come into play more than the previous man, Ted Phillips.
We thought that. We didn't know that.
And do you think this is the data point that proves theories, or do you think it came before this?
I think that what they've done shouldn't just be dismissed as it's just Bears. I think that we should, if there's so much faith in Ryan Poles, then why not show faith in him to now, with Eberflus, build an offensive staff that makes sense?
I think both things can be true. I think the pattern in the NFL, which they don't break from patterns, is the best offensive candidates to run a team are right now head coaching candidates, correct? Do you trust the Bears to find somebody suitable for either Justin Fields or whoever the quarterback may be who wants to work for Matt Eberflus? Like, that's a big question that I want to know right now.
But the answer to that would have been no, even if they fired Eberflus. Like, you could still ask that question. Do you trust the Bears to hire a head coach that's going to do the best job to handle whether it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams?
No.
We would still be in the same place even if they fired Eberflus, that you would have to, because they're the ones who hired Eberflus.
Okay, so let me ask you both this. What's the best likelihood of them getting the best offensive coordinator candidate? Do you think that requires firing Eberflus?
It would be to hire that person as the head coach.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, I'm leaning in that direction.
I think that you guys are probably right when it comes to a candidate like Ben Johnson, for example, that you would have to make him the head coach of the team to get him, but that doesn't always work either. That this is what you did the last cycle. You want to do what they did the last time. Who's the hottest offensive coordinator? That's who I want with my quarterback. Ta-da, congratulations, here's Matt Nagy. And then you find out, he's not good at being either an offensive coordinator or a head coach. There is no perfect way to do this.
Yeah, but we've done this way a million times. How many offensive coordinators have they had since Ron Turner? 8? Look at that list of names. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get whoever takes this job is going to fit right in with Aaron Kromer and Mike Martz and Mike Tice and Dowell Loggins and Mark Helfrich, and they're just doing it again.
The only offensive coordinator I think who took an offensive coordinator job that we all know of off the top of our head that was obvious was Eric Bieniemy. And I still don't know why that happened ultimately.
Well, I mean, Bieniemy is theoretically, he's not been fired yet, right?
I don't think so.
No, that's just Ron Rivera, right?
Right.
We would have known that if it had happened.
But what you're looking to do is upgrade the offensive coordinator position. And I think that the people that you were calling second-tier offensive coordinators would be massive upgrades from Luke Getsy. And perhaps that's where you can find those wins that you lost. And maybe you can develop whatever quarterback that you're going to bring in.
But what I'd like to know first, and this is the problem that you have when you don't start from scratch, when you don't start clean and follow the order on the masthead of the person at the top hires the next person, and that person hires the people underneath. When you do it in some sort of randomized or confusing order, you end up with this issue. And that is, are you going to go to offensive coordinator candidates now? Like immediately?
Yes, that's what you should be doing.
And asking them to their honest opinion of Fields and other resources versus Caleb Williams or Drake May. Because I don't want Poles to make a decision on that without the input of your top offensive mind in the building. Like, that's critical right now. To figure out what the overall plan is, where you can't go hire an offensive coordinator for either building around Justin Fields or developing a rookie.
So why can't that happen? The draft isn't until the end of April. You've got plenty of time to do that.
Do you trust the Bears are going to do that?
They're going to hire a top offensive mind. It just might not be the best offensive mind.
If at the end of this, the only thing that matters is, do you trust the Bears? The answer for all of us is no.
Yep.
Then we should shut it down and start talking about the White Sox today.
We don't trust them either.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, that's not going to get anybody anywhere.
I just think that it's
And we'll never be right.
We're going to be.
And so are the Bears.
And perhaps volunteers with Garrett Crochet possibly starting.
I just think that there are more possibilities than you're allowing for. And I think that you've created this binary about the hiring of the OC that is not true. Your idea of you have to get young and unproven or old is there's actually people that are in the middle of that could be the difference between your team being a contender and your team not being a contender.
Okay.
I don't think that you're being very fair to other candidates that might be out there or that polls might be able to find.
I've lived the Bears Groundhog Day long enough to know that this way of doing business doesn't usually work.
Okay, well, great. And here we are then. But that's why I don't understand why you threw all this faith into Kevin Warren.
Because I hoped it would be different. I dared to think that somebody could come in here from the top of the organization and actually have a vision for removing this team from the doldrums of mom and pop mediocrity.
You went out of your own belief system to do that, Dan. No, that's what I'm trying to point out to you.
Which is okay.
We all thought that Kevin Warren was going to be different enough to matter.
I am not going to agree to that.
Why not?
Because I didn't.
Okay, so what was your thought on what Kevin Warren was going to be different on?
I would like to see him do something before I give him that and say that he is different. And that's what I kept trying to tell him is you're basing this off of nothing. His resume isn't in running a football team. His resume is in building football stadiums. That's not what the football. I don't know why people were thinking that this just because he has that on his resume didn't mean that he was going to put an excellent thumbprint on the Bears football operation. I actually think it's encouraging if he is hands off in this situation, and we don't know. If he is hands off, I find it encouraging that the football person that most people think has done a good job is the person who's in charge of this. If you want to have faith in anyone at the Bears, the person to have faith, and I have my issues with Ryan Poles too, but the person to have faith in is him. Not George, not Kevin Warren, the general manager of the team. And he thinks that this is the right way to go. Out of all the people up there, who would you trust? If you have to choose between who to trust up there, it's probably Ryan Poles, right? It's definitely not Matt Eberflus. It's not Kevin Warren. You know what George McCaskey is about. So why not lean into him being trustworthy enough to get this right?
No, I disagree. I still think Kevin Warren has a bigger resume in his role and more skins on the wall than anybody up there. I still think that Kevin Warren is more competent. He's more proven. If he were to be involved in football decisions like they empowered Ted Phillips, I'm okay with it. That's why when he was hired, I also thought that might happen.
I would need proof for you to back that up. What football decisions have you seen Kevin Warren make in his career that leads you to believe that?
The Bears have promoted people time and time again with a job description that is different. This was the job of the general, overseeing the general manager. We knew that because previously everybody reported to Ted. And when we heard about this job, everybody was reporting to Ted. So it stands to reason that Kevin Warren would be the person they report to.
Just because Kevin Warren's resume is better than Ted's doesn't mean that he's the most qualified football person up there. I think that you brought him in here to handle the business of the Bears. And to that point, his resume is exemplary. You want a TV deal done, you want a building built, that's what he does. There's nothing in him as football man that in his resume that says that he's that dude.
However, regardless of any of the micro, his job and what we felt was going to happen was a tone would be set, that standards would be impeccable, that the standards overall for everything that they do And people said, look, they've upgraded the food in the press box.
But
they've upgraded.
He's doing all of that stuff. That's what the guys were talking about in those exit interviews.
And that's why it's incredibly disappointing. At one of the most important junctures in franchise history, they do the Bearsiest thing possible. That's why I'm disappointed.